DCAA, which is the Defense Contract Audit Agency, Department of Labor on occasion with the Department of Labor audits, and so forth. I launched the Chatter Project so we can have an up-leveled, mature conversation around government contracting. Something more than how do I win my first contract, or how do I find the opportunity, but more along the lines of what it's required to build a true government contracting operation, what it like to scale a government contracting operation, and so forth. So with that, then the information that you will need to form or create a government contracting strategy. And to that end is enough of the introduction, and we're going to get into what is new and happening with the government contracting arena. Now, as we know, on Thursday, our president wrote an executive order, which, depending on who you talk to, isn't out on the street. I haven't looked yet, but I'm going to look at that, which mandates all employer, well, he instructs OSHA, Department of Labor, to mandate companies employing 100 or more to require vaccination or twice a week COVID testing. All government contractors are required to vaccinate their workforce. Now, I do know states have already issued got around COVID requirements. I know the state of Virginia in particular, basically their guidance is if your employees work on a government site, they either have to be vaccinated or they have to wear a mask. That is what the state of Virginia has put down as a guideline. So several other states have issued similar guidelines when it comes to COVID. My, my requirement or my suggestion to you is to have a conversation with your contracting officer. No matter how this lays out, every business should have a not particularly a COVID plan, but a plan in event of some sort of disaster preparedness. We know Hurricane Irma hit the coast not too long ago. You know, the Gulf Coast, New York, New Jersey region was ravaged. And to that end, how many businesses had a disaster preparedness plan? How were their employees communicated with? How many employees knew what to do? Just because a hurricane hit your area does not mean that your company is closed. How do employees know how to access their benefits like these? So every government contractor, regardless of what's going on, should have some type of disaster preparedness plan. I suggest that, and I think that, you know, the government contracting industry, you know, should have a plan. I suggest that, and I think that, you know, the government contracting industry should have a plan. I suggest that, and I think that, you know, the government contracting industry should have a plan. I suggest that, and I think that, you know, the government contracting industry should have a plan. I suggest that, and I think that, you know, the government contracting industry should have a plan. I suggest that, and I think that, you know, the government contracting industry should have a plan. I suggest that, and I think that, you know, the government contracting industry should have a plan. I suggest that, and I think that, you know, the government contracting industry should have a plan. I suggest that, and I think that, you know, the government contracting industry should have a plan. I suggest that, and I think that, you know, the government contracting industry should have a plan. I suggest that, and I think that, you know, the government contracting industry should have a plan. I suggest that, and I think that, you know, the government contracting industry should have a plan. I suggest that, and I think that, you know, the government contrac that you get contact your benefits officer if you offer benefits, HR director, representative, or consultant, and you should brainstorm how you're going to lay out that kind of plan. As you know, the government has budget is in Senate and Congress. It is a $2.9 trillion appropriations bill. And quite frankly, the conversation is around how we're going to pay for it. One way they're discussing paying for it is an increase in the corporate rates. And I know some people on the broadcast like, why does that matter to me? I'm a small business. The corporate tax rate matters to you. Call yourself a contractor. I- I'm assuming you have some sort of corporate structure, an LLC, an S corp, something of that nature. The tax rate will affect how much of your profits your company retains. That affects your rates. That affects your revenue stream. That affects your projections. That affects your tax strategy. So this is very, very important. We also want to know that the IRS, Department of Labor, and various other arms of the government have been, there's going to be a tick in all years. This is all designed bill. With the uptick in audits, it is very, very important that you may have your books in order. If you're still doing your own books, at the very minimum, you should hire someone to come in quarterly or yearly to review your books and records to ensure that your record keeping is on par. You have the appropriate records so that when the auditor, not if, when the auditor comes, you can stand an audit. The way the government audits, if there's an irregularity, especially on a government contract, they charge penalties and interest. And the way government math is more complex than Common Core. So a simple $500 error can result in a $2,000 payment to the government. And enough of those payments can put you out of business. So you need to have not only a tax plan, but you need to audit ready. To that end, the IRS, there is a bill before Congress and Senate, which will increase IRS monitoring of bank accounts. Now, I know none of the government contractors are doing, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention. They will be monitoring deposits coming from Venmo, Cash App, things of that nature. They're looking for people who are not paying their fair share of taxes. And I know people are talking about, well, why should I have to pay more taxes than I should? You don't. And there are legal ways for you to minimize your taxes. That's called a tax strategy. Hire a tax professional to assist you in creating a tax strategy. We, as professionals, and especially do not use Cash App or things of that nature as payment acceptance field. In fact, government contractors cannot use Cash App to conduct this. That's just the way it is. So you will make sure that on the minimum have on your team a tax specialist. With that, I want to um, share this on the platform before I close out for the morning. The first part of the year, I did a talk about respect industry, understanding the industry that you're operating in, and respecting it and conducting yourself accordingly. There are several events coming out and then over the next few months designed to help businesses operating within the government space create strategy, network, and meet government contracting office. To that end, I want to advise you and I want to implore you to respect the industry that you're in. We need to expand our attention span back to what it was before Twitter. The constant, want to pop in and out like popcorn. That's how we miss a lot of the pertinent information needed for success. Because while you're out, you're tuned out, the information is gone or the information has been stated. If you have a team, then stagger your team. I understand that there are people who are parallel. I did it for a while myself. I was working like I said, I was a compliance officer for one of the top 10 DoD contractors, working 70 hours a week while building my business. But to that end, I made sure that I was fully tuned in to whatever I needed to listen to in order to get the information that I needed to share, one, with my audience, and two, to build my contracting business. I am a contractor as well as a consultant and a trainer. And there was times that I could not be all places and do all things. And to that end, I had a team. It wasn't a large team, but I had a team. And what we did a divide and conquer. I knew I could listen from this time to this time. They could listen from this time to this time. And then we checked in on one another to ensure, hey, do you have your time slot? Do you have your time slot? And then at the end of the day, we did a debrief. You see, we respected the industry we were in enough to formulate a plan to gather the information so that we can create a sound contracting strategy so they can not only grow, but we can stabilize and scale the business. And that's what I'm going to say to you. We need to create that strategy for scalability, sustainability, and growth. But that only comes with the complete intake of information on platforms like this. The SBA has, this week is the virtual small business event. Tune into that. I I recommend everybody do the American Express con- government contractors event. It's usually held in June, late June, early July every year in Washington, D.C. I don't know if they're going to do it virtual this year, next year, or if it's going to be live. Either way, there's some great information there. If you are a solopreneur trying to do government contracting, I would say work on building that. It's a free event. They put out the agenda in enough time where you can see the sessions you want to sit down in.